Today, we're going to go over how you can outsource artwork and all of the lessons that we've learned over the years so that we don't spend a ton of money and get back completely unusable garbage in return. There's really 3 steps to outsourcing artwork. The first one is going to be finding qualified artists that work for your niche. Now, I've outsourced to Upwork, to Odesk, to Freelancer, to Design Crowd, to 99 Designs, to Fiverr, to Facebook Friends. I mean, anybody and everybody who said that they're a good designer, I've probably tried them out at least once. But how do you find a good qualified artist that isn't going to turn out something that's completely unusable? If you've got a DTG machine, pretty much anybody with a copy of Photoshop or GIMP can turn out something that you can print. That's just because the DTG machine does all the separations for you and prints it. But if you are a screen printer, you're going to need someone who has some knowledge of spot color design. And that's a niche within a niche. What I've found is you have to look a little deeper in people's portfolios. When you see someone with 4 or 5 really great looking designs, you need to find out whether or not those designs were using stock clip art or if they were a rip-off of somebody else's layout. When I'm looking at an artist's portfolio, I'm looking at page 2, 3, and 4 of all of their designs, because sometimes a design that looks really great might tell a different story when you see it in the context of the body of their work. I've seen a lot of this out of the lower end artists where they have a couple of designs that are phenomenal, and then when you look at more of their portfolio, it really did happen by accident, and you can start to see the amateur mistakes that they made, sometimes even in their best designs. So when it comes to finding good artists, you have to go, first of all, to where they're looking for work, and that's a number of those freelance websites. The second part is you have to scrutinize their portfolios and make sure that the body of their work is in the design style that you need, and that it's also consistently good and not accidentally good. Once you've found a good artist, you need to make sure that you've got the budget for it. There are some phenomenal artists out there that don't even begin working with you unless you put out $350 or $400. For our day-to-day production level art, that's way outside of our price range. $25 to $50 is about the max that we can do on a good portion of our work. But that less expensive art is very clip art reliant, text heavy artwork. There's no customized elements where you're drawing characters or mascots or putting together complex scenes. It's literally just laying out basic clip art and contact information. Now, once you've found a good artist that's a fit for your needs, your budget, and your design style, it comes down to communication and empathy. You have to ask the right questions from your customers in order to be the eyes and ears of your artist so that they understand what you need out of them. I started my first part-time art job at 14. We had a good family friend who had a recording studio, did web work, and was also a videographer. And this guy was big picture to the max. He knew how to communicate with high-profile customers and get on the same page with them. However, when it came to communicating to the little guys in the shop like me, he didn't waste his time on the bigger picture. And I struggled with that for years, because how am I supposed to take these 3 little puzzle pieces and make them fit into the much bigger picture if I don't know how it's going to be used or what it's going to be used for? That had a big impact on me and my own business moving forward, and was really one of the driving factors in me going out on my own. In fact, my first branding and consulting business was really built around my ability to translate what customers wanted with how designers communicated. And what it comes down to is you need to give your designer the big picture. Let them understand the framework in which this design fits. What is their target market? What is their customer base? Where is this shirt going to be used? Who's going to be wearing it? All of these things are important to build a mental picture in their mind so that they can deliver a contextually strong design. The next part is being proactively empathetic. Put yourself in their shoes. Are you trying to drop an overly complex design on their lap? Are you asking more from them than is fair for the budget you've allowed? If the answer to those 3 questions is yes, then the last part is staying on top of and in communication with your artist. The worst thing you can do is deliver a design briefing to an artist and then disappear until the day before the deadline. There is a strong chance that some of the time the artist is going to get hung up on some aspect of the design and then not communicate with you within a couple of days, and then they feel like they've waited too long to ask a question or clarify a point, and then they get right to the deadline, they're freaking out, they're stressed out, they're frustrated, and either they ghost out of shame or they come back with something that is way overcomplicated, they've spent 20 hours on it and it's just not what you need, or they just bomb. And you don't want any of those three scenarios. When somebody ghosts on you, you could be losing a fantastic artist who's just kind of falling on their sword. And you don't want your artist spending 20 plus hours trying to over design and plan for every contingency with something that could have been cleared up with a 3, 4, 5 minute phone call, or land at the deadline only to find out that they are not a qualified artist, or they can't turn out the type of art that you want, and you get garbage back in return. Because now you're out of time, you have no other options, and you either have to do it yourself or frustrate your customer. By staying on top of your artist, asking questions, emailing them, getting status updates, asking for drafts, you're not going to bug them, you're going to open the door for them to communicate any worries or concerns they have before they become catastrophic, game-ending, job-losing situations. And the last part of this whole thing is, you have to do this before it becomes critical. Try out an artist whenever you've got time, whenever you're not overwhelmed, so that you can walk through the process with them at a relatively leisurely pace. If you're already working 70 hours a week and you're overwhelmed, that is not the time to try to bring on a new freelance artist. There is a breaking in period. The first couple of designs that you do with these guys are going to be stilted. They're going to be slow. You're going to have to over communicate until you learn the ins and outs of how they function and they learn how you function. And if you're already backed into a corner, you're just not going to be an effective communicator. You're going to want to quickly delegate in 5 sentences a job, and it's just not going to work out for you. So wait until you've got time. The best time to start outsourcing is before you really need to start outsourcing. And it's going to prepare you for the time that you really can't handle a job in-house and you have to outsource it. You're already going to have a couple of guys in your stable that you can push this art to and trust that it's going to come back the way you need it to. This video was a little tough for me to make because there are a lot of aspects I wanted to explore. My first business was a design, branding, and consulting business where my main focus was on translating what customers needed with how designers spoke. So I could go into great detail on the steps we took to bridge that gap, because I saw that there was definitely a chasm in the industry where designers are speaking one language, customers are speaking another, and you need an intermediary, you and I, as business owners. So just remember, we're all in this together, we're all still learning, and I think we can do some really great things in this industry. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe it, turn on that bell notification. It makes a world of difference. We just hit 60 subscribers, and it's so heartening to hear from you guys. It really makes it worth putting more and more content out here for y'all, and I'll see you next time.